Welcome to Media Storm Cooper. Now let's begin with our top story. Here's a complete original news script written in a calm, serious, and analytical style. It delivers the same core message as a professional report on the headline, Iran conflict, peace negotiations reach critical stage, while expanding it into a full-length narrative suitable for YouTube. Winterlight. The wording is entirely fresh, with natural flow and clear language. Iran conflict, peace negotiations reach critical stage. Good evening. Tensions in the Middle East have entered a delicate new phase. Efforts to bring an end to the ongoing conflict involving Iran, the United States, and Israel now stand at what many are calling a critical moment. Diplomats from several countries are working behind the scenes, but the path forward remains uncertain, and the stakes could not be higher. The war, which has stretched on for several weeks, has already caused significant damage across the region. Strikes have hit military sites, energy facilities, and key infrastructure. Shipping through vital waterways has faced serious disruption. Millions of people have felt the impact, from rising oil prices to fears of a wider regional crisis. Now, as both sides weigh military options against the possibility of a deal, the focus has shifted sharply toward negotiation. At the center of these talks is a push for some form of ceasefire. Mediators, including officials from Pakistan, have described the current stage as highly sensitive. Iran's ambassador to Pakistan recently noted that positive steps towards stopping the fighting are approaching a make-or-break point. He spoke of productive efforts carried out in good faith, though he offered few specific details. President Donald Trump has set clear deadlines in recent days. He has warned that if certain conditions are not met soon, the United States could take strong action against Iranian power plants, oil installations, and other targets. At the same time, Trump has pointed to what he sees as real progress in the discussions. He has described the exchanges as moving forward and suggested that a resolution might still be possible if the right terms are reached. One key issue involves the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway carries a large share of the world's oil supply. Iran's actions in the area have raised concerns about global energy markets. The United States has pressed for the strait to be reopened fully to normal traffic. Iranian officials have pushed back, linking any steps on the waterway to broader guarantees about the end of hostilities. Reports indicate that the United States shared a detailed 15-point proposal with Iran through Pakistani channels. The plan reportedly covers steps to wind down the fighting, address security concerns, and set conditions for longer-term stability. Iran, however, has rejected that framework, calling parts of it unrealistic or overly demanding. In response, Tehran has put forward its own ideas, including a 10-point outline that emphasizes a permanent end to the conflict rather than a short-term pause. Iranian leaders have made it clear they want more than a temporary halt in strikes. They are seeking the lifting of economic sanctions, assurances against future attacks, and a say in how regional security matters are handled. Some accounts suggest Iran is also looking for compensation or other measures to repair the damage caused by recent operations. On the other side, American officials have stressed the need for firm limits on Iran's nuclear activities, its missile capabilities, and its support for groups across the region. These demands reflect long-standing worries that Iran could move closer to developing nuclear weapons. Past attempts to revive the 2015 nuclear agreement, known as the JCPOA, broke down, leaving deep distrust on both sides. The current round of indirect talks builds on earlier efforts that took place in places like Oman and other neutral locations. Mediators have floated ideas such as a 45-day ceasefire as a first step. The thinking is that a limited pause could create space to work out a more lasting arrangement. Under such a proposal, Iran would reopen the Strait of Hormuz, while both sides would step back from direct attacks. After that initial period, deeper discussions could begin on the full list of issues. Yet Iran has pushed for a permanent solution right away. Officials there argue that a short ceasefire could simply give the other side time to regroup and launch new operations. They insist that any agreement must address the root causes of the conflict and provide real security for their country. Pakistan has played a notable role in these exchanges. Its officials have helped carry messages between Washington and Tehran. The country's leadership has expressed willingness to host direct or indirect meetings. Other nations, including Egypt and Turkey, have also offered support for mediation. Even so, progress has been slow, and at times the talks have appeared close to stalling. The human and economic costs of the conflict continue to mount. Strikes have affected cities and energy sites inside Iran. Retaliatory actions have reached neighboring countries and international shipping. Oil prices have climbed, adding pressure to economies already dealing with uncertainty. Families across the region worry about what comes next if the fighting spreads further. Inside Iran, the situation carries extra layers of complexity. The country has faced internal challenges in recent years, including protests and economic strain from years of sanctions. The leadership in Tehran must balance its desire to protect national interests with the heavy burden that continued conflict places on its people. For the United States and its partners, the goal remains preventing Iran from gaining nuclear weapons while also calming the wider Middle East. Israel has conducted its own operations aimed at weakening Iran's military reach and nuclear-related sites. These actions have added to the intensity of the current standoff. As the deadline set by President Trump draws near, the coming hours and days will be closely watched. Will the two sides find enough common ground to step back from the edge? Or will the threats of further strikes become reality? Diplomats say the window for diplomacy is narrowing, but it has not closed completely. Analysts point out that both Iran and the United States have reasons to seek an off-ramp. Continued fighting brings high costs in lives, resources, and international standing. A successful agreement could open the door to reduced sanctions, safer shipping lanes, and greater stability across the Persian Gulf. Yet deep mistrust, competing red lines, and domestic political pressures make any compromise difficult. One possible path involves a two-stage approach. The first stage would focus on an immediate halt to attacks and the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. The second stage would tackle the bigger questions around Iran's nuclear program, missile development, and regional influence. Mediators are trying to build confidence through confidential channels so that neither side feels forced into a public retreat. Iran has signaled some flexibility in the past on uranium enrichment levels, but it continues to insist on its right to peaceful nuclear technology under international oversight. The United States has pushed for much stricter limits, including the removal of highly enriched uranium stockpiles and strong verification measures. The role of international organizations adds another dimension. The International Atomic Energy Agency has monitored Iran's nuclear activities for years. Its reports have often been at the center of debates about compliance and potential risks. Any final deal would likely need clear mechanisms for inspection and enforcement to build trust. Regional powers are also paying close attention. Gulf states worry about the spillover effects of the conflict, from refugee flows to threats against their own energy infrastructure. Some have quietly urged all parties to find a peaceful way forward. Others remain cautious, balancing alliances with the United States against their own security needs. Public statements from leaders on all sides have mixed hopeful notes with firm warnings. Trump has spoken at times of great progress while also reminding Iran of the serious consequences if talks fail. Iranian officials have rejected what they see as unfair ultimatums, but have left the door open to continued contact through mediators. As this critical stage unfolds, the world is left hoping that cool heads will prevail. History shows that wars in the Middle East can escalate quickly, with consequences that reach far beyond the region. Global markets, energy supplies, and international security all hang in the balance. For now, the focus remains on quiet diplomacy. Envoys are exchanging ideas, testing proposals, and searching for areas where agreement might be possible. Whether this leads to a breakthrough or another round of escalation is something only the next few days will reveal. We will continue to follow these developments closely. The situation is fluid, and new information could shift the picture at any moment. What is clear is that the choices made in these critical hours will shape the future of the Middle East and beyond. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, and we will bring you the latest as it becomes available.